All right, welcome back, everybody. Back with another quick little news of the day video here for you guys, and we've got some pretty huge news coming out from North America. They actually did it. They actually did it. I mean, it's been a few weeks in the making. There have been rumors going on since the end of TI11, and it's just felt like it's been radio silence from EG since then, despite all of these rising tensions. But they actually did it. Just a few hours ago, they announced it. And before we get into that, I of course just want to give you guys a quick reminder, as per usual, if you've noticed that I've missed anything in this video or any of the videos that I've uploaded in the past few weeks, let me know in the comments down below. Try to make sure that it is something that has been confirmed. I don't usually cover rumors on this channel. And of course, if you want to check out any of these stories for yourself, everything is linked down below in the description, as well as the link to our Discord channel. And if you don't want to miss any more news of the days or TI, post-TI roster shuffling news, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And if you enjoy the video, like and share it. So, yes, Evil Geniuses. Again, it's been something that has been rumored since the end of TI11 that they were going to be moving into South America, that they were going to be moving away from North America, dropping this roster and starting fresh in a brand new region, seeing a lot of promise in there, but again, radio silence. We didn't hear anything from any of the players, anyone on the org, and today they just dropped an absolute bombshell on the Dota 2 community. And yeah, Evil Geniuses has officially released their entire roster. All 6 members, including Coach Bulba, have been let go. That, of course, being Arteezy, Abed, Nightfall, Crit, and Fly, and again, Bulba. Before we get into talking about EG and them moving, I just want to talk about the players a little bit because I am really curious to see where they end up. It feels like over the past few weeks since the end of TI, a bunch of players have been entering the free agent pool, but very few teams have actually picked up players. So there's just this ever-expanding pool of amazingly talented players, and no teams have yet to pick them up, or barely any at this point. So I'm really excited. You got to imagine that there's a lot of teams that are super stoked to jump on this opportunity to get some of these players, because again, a lot of these players, including Bulba, who's a coach at this point, have so much experience, have been around the scene for so long, even having them even as like a supporting role or as a coach, moving one of those current players to a coaching role, could be huge for an up-and-coming team in no matter which region. And that's the other thing that I find most exciting, is that every single one of these players has played in another region before. We of course have Abed and Fly, who have both played in Southeast Asia. Fly has also played in Western Europe. We then of course have Arteezy and Crit, who have also played in Western Europe, and Nightfall playing in Eastern Europe. So these players could end up in completely different regions than where they are now. And that leads me into my next little bit that I want to talk about here with Evil Geniuses is, what does the NA scene look like going forward? I mean, Evil Geniuses, for better or for worse, for the past decade, even longer than that, has been the face of North American Dota. Again, for better or for worse. Whatever you think about this team, you know, they have a TI championship under this belt. They've had legendary players come in for this team and play with them over the past decade or so. Of course, everyone remembers Sumail's entry into the Dota 2 scene, winning it in his first year. Absolutely fantastic. And Bulba joining this organization has been around it for so long. Artur, of course, he is an EG boy. And so where do they go from here? Again, if the players end up leaving the region, or if they don't stick around for a new organization, what happens with North America? Of course, over the past couple years, we've seen a lot more rising talent in North America. It doesn't feel like it's as much of a single team coming up from the region. We've had Quincy Crew, who got picked up by Sonics and then dropped by Sonics again. And of course, we have TSM, who has been doing quite well for themselves. Other teams that are starting to catch up as well, like Nouns. But it just feels like Evil Geniuses has been such a staple of the region, and it just feels like rather than a big bang to end their time in North America, it was actually just a fizzling out. Not just because of the disappointing performance maybe at TI this year and last year as well, but also just because there was nothing really more other than the announcement. I mean, you have players and coaches on this team that have been around the organization for almost a decade, if you add up all that time together, and yet there was no tribute video, no like huge thank you letter or grand celebration, or really anything, like anything that you would think of to show appreciation for these players that have put so much time and effort into bringing your organization this much success. And sure, again, they didn't win very many majors. They won a TI back at TI5, but other than that, it's been kind of hit or miss. But this has been a team that has been relevant for almost a decade, which not very many organizations or teams can really say, which is pretty impressive. And we in fact actually had a few people coming out and talking about how it felt like it was just a fizzling out. We had Owie, who of course, former member of Evil Geniuses, TI5 champion with Evil Geniuses, talking about how he found it kind of weird that there wasn't exactly a tribute video. In fact, I'd be surprised if Evil Geniuses' social media or Twitter, whatever, put out a video at this point before some Dota 2 content creator did. I'm looking at you, Holy Hexer. I'm expecting you to post up an Evil Geniuses tribute video. Who knows? Maybe it's already up by the time I'm recording this video. We even had former CEO Alex Garfield talking about some of the same things, how he was kind of disappointed in the direction of the team at this point, although I will say that some of his commentary felt a little underwhelming. It didn't really feel like it was all that impactful. It felt like he was more just a little bitter about the fact that Evil Geniuses was going to be ditching this team and that he wasn't CEO anymore. Whatever, regardless, we did have an actual statement from the current CEO, that being Nicole Lapointe Jameson, and I'll be honest, it was a little strange. I'll link it down below if you want to watch it. She posted a quick little 3-minute video talking about Evil Geniuses and the fact that they're going to be dropping this roster and moving forward to South America, which has now been confirmed. But I gotta admit, watching this video felt like I was watching like a 2018 era YouTuber apology video. It just was really awkward, really low energy for like no reason. Again, I understand that it's a big deal to be getting rid of these players, but again, there was just no show of appreciation in any meaningful way other than a few words, which of course can be nice, but anyways, who am I to say? I'm just a viewer. I'm just a casual enjoyer of the Dota 2 pro scene, but still, it was a little strange. So, yeah, Evil Geniuses dropping North America, moving to South America, confirmed by their CEO. It's pretty likely that they're going to end up with the players that have been rumored, although they have not confirmed their new roster going forward yet. Although, given the rumors that some members of Beast Coast and Thunder Awaken were going to be merging to form a team with EG, and we've already had that in the new Beast Coast roster, it's looking pretty likely. Which, if they do end up doing that, that could be pretty exciting, because I do think that that roster would consist of some of the best parts of both of those South American squads and bringing them together. We'll see if it ends up working. We'll see if it even ends up happening, because of course we've seen these superstar rosters be made in the past and they have so much hype behind them and it just doesn't work. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully EG does have a good time down in South America. It is a hugely untapped market right now by some of these bigger organizations. South American Dota has gotten so entertaining to watch, and I know I'm saying gotten as if it wasn't before, but generally I wasn't someone that watched South American Dota before just a few years ago, unless they are at some international tournament. So seeing how popular it's gotten, seeing how far the South American scene has come is really inspiring, and I'm just so stoked to see the future of the scene. But what does this mean for North America? Is this the end of big organizations entering North America? Who knows? It's a wide open ballpark, and I'm just really excited to see what ends up happening. So let me know what you guys think about all that in the comments down below, as always, as I wrap up this video with just a few quick stories here that I just want to talk about before I end off this video. All right, first things first, I'm actually going to skip all the way down to the bottom here because I do think it's kind of important to talk about, and it's kind of funny because it's not really news, it's more like anti-news, but TI11, of course, the amazing tournament that was put on by Valve this year that had no technical issues, no disappointments whatsoever, was actually not nominated whatsoever for Tournament of the Year by the Game Awards for the first time ever. Yeah, the International for the first time not nominated, and I gotta say, I'm not exactly surprised. It was a pretty disappointing year. Again, I understand the issues with the venue, but I feel like that should have been something that could have been figured out. The audio issues, the technical issues, those happen every year, but at some point they shouldn't, right? And of course, the huge like 4 or 5 day break in the middle of the main stage event felt really underwhelming. I thought that it could be okay. I thought that it could build some tension over that time, but it really just felt like the tournament lost momentum and it just kind of ended in a lackluster way. So overall, there was some fantastic Dota played at TI11. Don't get me wrong, the Dota was great, but overall, the way the tournament was run, the way the tournament was presented to the viewer and to the players, it was kind of underwhelming. And last year, of course, with COVID and everything, there was an excuse, you know, of course, no crowds and the lack of availabilities in hotels. It made sense. It was a bit of a pass. Even last year, I feel like had a better setup than this year. This year was pretty disappointing. But with that being said, let's move into the final bits of news here in this video. First things first, Aster has concluded their roster heading into next season by filling in their mid role. We of course had Ori, who went into retirement very recently, so they had a slot to fill. And as they have been doing over the past few months, they picked up their mid laner from Aster Aries to come in and fill that slot. That is going to be XWY. He, of course, in case you aren't familiar with the Chinese scene or anything like that, he actually took quite a lot of time off over the past year, didn't play very much. He joined Aster Aries for those regional qualifiers for TI11. They did not end up qualifying, and now he gets picked up by the main squad. So hopefully this works out for the team. Again, Aster has been one of the better teams in China over the past year or two. We'll see if they're able to keep up with that momentum heading into this year with another member added from their sister team. And finally, last little bit of news. We actually have two things coming up from Southeast Asia. One thing that isn't on this board that I'll talk about very shortly. Fnatic and Raven have parted ways. So yet another member leaving Fnatic. Again, Southeast Asia, a lot of players entering the free agency pool. Nobody getting picked up yet. But it does beg the question, what if some of these players do come together? What if we see some of these crazy combinations? Boom pretty much has all of their players exploring other options. We have Fnatic now, who have lost quite a few members at this point, including their coach. So I'm very excited to see where they go from here. And to end things off, we have news from Polaris, again, not on the board, apologies, that they have released their roster as well. By the sounds of it, they may have bit off a little bit more than they could chew, maybe with the players that they've acquired, mentioning that they just can't really financially support the players that they have, which is really unfortunate to hear. You'd think that an organization that's in a Dota 2 Pro Circuit slot that has one in the upper division would be able to financially support players, but evidently not. Evidently this billion-dollar company Valve just doesn't see it fit to just increase the prize money a little bit across DPC seasons, across the things that players are pouring their lives into. Obviously, that would be way too much to ask for. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think about anything I talked about in this video. And again, if you want to check it out, link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another upload of mine. And I'll talk to you guys very, very shortly. Bye.